10 Facts about Titanic. 1. People died on the Titanic even before it set out. During the 26-month construction of the Titanic at the Harland and Wolff shipyard in Belfast, 28 serious accidents and 218 minor accidents were recorded. 8 workers were killed. This was a smaller number than expected for the time, which was 1 death for every £100,000 spent. As the Titanic cost £1.5 million to build, 15 deaths could have been anticipated. Most of the 8 were killed by injuries sustained from falling either from the ship or the staging surrounding it. 2. The largest liner in the world. On her launch, the Titanic became the largest movable man-made object. She was 269 meters long and 28 meters wide. From keel to bridge she was 32 meters high, 53 meters to the top of the stacks. Because of her grandeur, it was felt that the Titanic should have 4 exhaust stacks. 3. One of 3. Because of her size and the new equipment it would require, it would have been too expensive to build the Titanic alone. Instead, she was built alongside 2 sister ships, both of which also had eventful lifetimes. Construction of the RMS Olympic began first, and the ship was launched on September 20, 1910. For the next 12 months, the fractionally smaller Olympic was the largest liner in the world. 4. Room for 1,000 more. Around 2,200 people were on board when the Titanic sank in 1912, but her maximum capacity was around 3,500. Of these, 1,000 would be crew. In 1912, there were 908 crew members, but fewer passengers. There were 324 in first class, 284 in second, and 709 in third. The estimated overall wealth of the passengers in first class was $500 million. $87 million of this is attributed to John Jacob Astor IV. On their voyage from New York in January 1912, Astor and his wife Madeline traveled on the Olympic. Astor was the richest passenger on the Titanic on their return journey, and one of the richest people in the world. He died in the sinking as a women and children first protocol was generally followed. 6. In first class, Titanic was a place of luxury. The liner had 4 restaurants and passengers ate off the 50,000 pieces of bone china crockery supplied by Liverpool Stonier and Company. There were reading rooms, 2 libraries, 2 barber shops and a photographic darkroom on board. A heated swimming pool was reserved for use by first-class passengers, at 1 shilling a time. There were also Turkish baths and electric baths, each for 4 shillings a time. A first-class passenger would pay £30 for a regular room, or £875 for a parlour suite. The majority of passengers, however, were in third class, and paid between £3 and £8. Titanic was officially responsible for delivering mail for the British Postal Service. There were 5 mail clerks, a post office and a mail room on decks F and G, along with 3,423 sacks of mail. It was reported that during the 2 hours and 40 minutes that the ship took to sink, the clerks prioritized moving sacks of mail to the upper deck. 8. A lifeboat drill scheduled for the 14th of April was called off. This was possibly because Captain Edward Smith wished to deliver a final Sunday service before retirement. The ship sank that night. The crew had only done 1 lifeboat drill, whilst the ship was docked. Even if the crew had been better trained and each lifeboat had been filled, there was only sufficient space for around a third of the ship's maximum capacity. It was believed that the ship would not sink, so there would be time to ferry passengers off it. This oversight was made possible by the Merchant Shipping Act of 1894, which was not updated to accommodate ships exceeding 10,000 tons. 9. The wreck was discovered in the last 50 years. The Titanic wreck lies 3,700 meters below the surface of the Atlantic. It was not discovered until 1985, at which time it was confirmed that the boat had split in 2. The task of finding the Titanic was included in a military operation to survey the remains of some nuclear submarines led by Robert Ballard. Many areas of the ship remain unexplored, as they are inaccessible to underwater vehicles. 10. Titanic's legacy endures. The sinking of the Titanic has inspired many films and documentaries.